Without actually doing a graph, we can still identify the concavity, the vertex, the axis of symmetry of an equation of a quadratic. So that's what this example here wants us to do. Identify the concavity of your equation and then find the minimum or maximum value of the vertex and identify the axis of symmetry for that vertex then. So when it's in this form, you can identify the vertex right away. So remember, the plus 4 is really left 4 and then up 8. So the vertex is going to be negative 4, 8, because we would write this as x minus negative 4. The minus is part of the equation. The h is really the negative 4 value. So the vertex in this problem is negative 4, 8. So if we know the vertex, the axis of symmetry is just through negative 4. We have a negative in the front, so it would concave down. That's it. So when it's in this form, you literally know the vertex, the center of your problem right away. So what about letter E? It's still in that form, the 1 parenthesis squared minus 1. So it concaves up because our 4 is positive in the front. And our vertex, well, if there's no value inside those parentheses, you can add or subtract 0 all day long and not change the actual equation. So this vertex is actually going to be 0, negative 1. So the axis of symmetry would be through 0. So when you guys graph these, your vertex is at 0, negative 1. Your axis of symmetry would go through that value. So similar to number or letter A, negative 4, 8. It would open down. But your axis of symmetry goes through that x value of negative 4. So if you have the vertex, you have the axis of symmetry. So let's go ahead and actually do the graphing of one of them. So in the problem 1/2 x minus 1 squared plus 3, let's answer what we can over here on the left. So I know it's going to concave up because the 1/2 is positive. The vertex is going to be positive 1, 3. So the axis of symmetry will go through 1. So the y-intercept, all you guys are doing is finding the y value when it's on your y-intercept, or when it's on your y-axis. So x is always going to be 0. So you guys just plug in 0 for x. So 1/2, 0 minus 1 squared plus 3. So negative 1 squared is 1 times 1/2 is 1/2 plus 3 is 3 1/2. So that is your y-intercept. And then we just plot some additional points. So let's actually plot our vertex first. So 1, 3. We said our y-intercept was 3 1/2. I'm going to draw the axis of symmetry through there so I don't lose track of where the center of my graph is. Well, because the axis of symmetry is the really symmetrical line for this parabola, if you know there's a point at 0, 3 1/2 on that y-axis, well, that's to the left of your axis of symmetry. So you have to know that on the right, there's also a point at the same y value. So let's do one more point. So let's just plug in. We'll plug in 3. So if we plug in 3, 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 squared is 4 times a half is 2 plus 3 is 5. So 3, 5. So again, if you have a point 2 spaces to the right, then you have a point 2 spaces to the left. It's just symmetrical. And then you can just draw your points in. And if you guys are doing this on the calculator, 1/2 times x minus 1 squared plus 3. Anytime you want to graph anything on the calculator, you have to go to your y equals. You could do 1 divided by 2 in parentheses, or you could do 0.5. Same thing. I'll do it the fraction. So 1/2 x minus 1 squared plus 3. So you would graph it. Let's see if it looks like what we have. It does. And then to get points to plot, all you have to do is push second graph to get your table. And then you can, so when you scroll up and down, hopefully you guys should see that like our vertex is 1, 3. So at that point, 1, 3, after that, up and above, like below and above, they start to repeat values because it's symmetrical. So sometimes you can find your vertex using the table, but if nothing else, you can use the table to find those additional points. But you need to be able to understand from looking at the equation, okay, the center of my graph, the vertex of my graph is at 1, 3. My axis of symmetry then will be through 1. But then you can go to your table, put it in the calculator, and get those additional points.